You should be able to join by clicking a link. I'm gonna try. So, um, hopefully, we're gonna have our guest. My dad will be joining us shortly. Um, hopefully any second. But in case there's tech, there we go. Okay. Are you there? There we go. All right.
We're here.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yep. Loud and clear.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm going to close the line so we don't have it. Yes. Yes.
All right, guys. Welcome to PhireBall channel, PhireBall Forecast podcast today, where we'll be talking about the NBA draft and the New York Knicks moves that they have made recently. It look like they've sparked the rest of the league to take action, along with the powerful Yankees and the recent massive slump that everyone seems to be contributing to, except Aaron Judge, who's on another record-breaking pace through the midway point. He's at 30 home runs, and it's almost with taking him the entire month of April off because I think he only hit one home run that month. So he is on a tear, and it seems that Soto's on base almost every time he hits a home run. So those two are doing their part. And last night, even Garrett Cole couldn't help them get past the New York Mets.
Ryan, it sounds like we have some feedback in the background.
What do you mean? That it sounds okay. I mean,
okay, as long as your viewers can hear it, it may just be on my part.
All right. So, yeah, I'm guessing you didn't watch the NBA draft last night live, right?
I did not.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it takes a certain type of fan to watch the draft when you're not really expecting anybody good. But I actually wrote a column yesterday where I think I told you on the phone where I said that the Knicks could potentially, if they wanted to, sign Hartenstein by getting rid of the commitment to take on 2 first-round picks, and that's exactly what I think they did. Then they, and I don't think anybody out there has broke this story yet of how genius this Leon Rose is, because the day before he, quote unquote, overpays for Malik Bridges, who I think is a perfect fit. Like in a way that, when they brought Latrell Sprewell and Camby to the team, I know you're getting your lighting fixed, but I'll just keep saying it. I think he's a perfect fit in a way that a perfect fit does not usually come along. I think that with that Nova, they all played. I think Hart was not on the 2018 championship team, but Bridges and Brunson and DiVincenzo all won 2 championships together, I believe. Now they're putting Bridges with them, and he's just coming off a year scoring over 20 a game. He's definitely better suited to be that second or third option, not the main option, which he has at the Knicks. And with them overpaying with 5 first-round draft picks, like everybody was criticizing, I understand that deal is usually reserved for top-tier, potential first-team All-NBA talent. But I don't think that anybody realized that if you look at it now, Leon Rose obviously had a plan. He had contingencies, and who knows what happened to trigger different things. But everyone knew Bridges was going somewhere. And I actually read an article that's been deleted that started. It said that Knicks to get Malik Bridges, and the article started saying, among suitors will obviously be the New York Knicks. The next sentence was, there is less than 0% chance that the Knicks could obtain this player. The Nets would never make a deal with them for that. And the Knicks have nothing that they want. Well, they gave him 5 unprotected first-round draft picks, a second-round swap, and a protected second-round draft pick. And Bogdanovich's contract, which was strategic all the way back to last year. And then they, quote unquote, overpay for Anunoby 14 hours later, announced they're going to extend Thibodeau's contract. And surprisingly, in the draft, they take an 18-year-old from France who could potentially stay in Europe for a year that they wouldn't have to pay. And even if they do, it's a 25th pick, which makes it like a $2.1 million commitment or 2.3, very low cap hit. And then they trade the other pick away for 5 second-round picks by 2029 with a team that is not necessarily guaranteed to be good, but certainly was last year. But a lot of these picks could, with the Knicks being contenders, the picks that they traded are all from contenders. They're giving away picks between 22 and 30, and they're getting back pretty much the missing link. And then the next day they trade a player that wouldn't have been on their roster, probably contributing whatever second pick they would have taken in the first round. And at 25, it ended up being 26, and they get back 5 second-round picks. So they almost overpaid and then got back change. I'm assuming that you can get at least 1 or 2 players with 5 second-round picks just by luck. You can at least get one that should have been a high, like a lottery pick. And if you're running a Thibodeau team, if you look at history, he's never relied on any rookies. And since they're competing for the conference, the way basketball has been going, you don't see too many studs get picked 25th and 30th. And if you do, it's just dumb luck. You see G League guys getting drafted for more than you see that. But I just think that I was worried about overpaying for Anunoby, but I think Bridges hedges the injury issue. And regardless of what happens with Hartenstein, they still have Mitchell Robinson, whose salary would not be a problem if they don't sign Hartenstein. If they do sign Hartenstein, they can trade him or they can keep him and package him with Randall later if the synergy is not there with Randall and the rest of the team as he accepts whatever his new role will be. But I love him as a second option, and Bridges is a third, and OG is a fourth. That you have to love that lineup, regardless of who's in the middle. So I think that they, if a couple things don't work out, it just gives them money to put somebody at center that they could pretty easily obtain. Because if you look, they still have first-round picks every year. They didn't trade away all first-round picks, just some. They had so many of them. And this all started with the Kristaps Porzingis deal that everyone hated. It started this 5-year or 6-year, maybe longer. When did Porzingis? I think it was 2018. So it's 6 years, and they're just getting done with. And they still have Mavericks picks, and it's what brought them, Brunson, and it's what brought them the ability to get Hart and all the pieces that they put on top of Julius Randle and all those. Every single deal they've made, when they made it, was criticized. And now I think after seeing them put up the performance they put up last year, we're following up a video where I said that, when the season ended last year, I knew they were going to compete for the championship this year. After the Game 7 loss to the Pacers, because they were so close to beating them. And if they're healthy, they were beating the Celtics all year long. And now they went out and got defenders that they were playing without and beating them to cover their studs on the wings. So, Vegas, they were there at plus 800. They were at plus 1,700 before the trade with Bridges. And when they signed it, OG Anunoby, it went from plus 1,000 to plus 800. That's pretty crazy in 24 hours. So what have you read? I know you didn't watch it or anything, but Did you read anybody that took that kind of approach to it? Did anybody mention how they got 5 second-round picks and they tried to kind of offset what they paid for Bridges?
I well, from what nobody in the press really criticized what he did. I hope your listeners can hear me because I
Yeah.
am getting the repeat of what you said, and I'm probably a little bit behind what I'm talking
Are you
about.
watching our
But
feed live right now?
yes,
That's why. You turn your volume down or turn that off. You don't have to watch us. You just well, I'm sorry, don't turn your camera off recording. You just don't watch the video too. Yeah, because the live feed will always have a delay. So that was probably what you were hearing.
but if I turn my sound down, I won't hear anything.
Oh, well, maybe you misunderstood, but it sounds good. I'm listening to it in the headset. Everything sounds fine. Um,
Well, I looked at the salary chart that you had sent,
mhm,
and Anunoby is making $13 million more than Randall is making,
that's right.
and that certainly is going to be a problem. And all of this really
That's just because of the
teeters
rules and
on
timing,
that they
though.
have to get rid of Robinson and Randall, and both of them are injury prone. Anunoby is injury prone, so that's a gamble signing him for that big money.
It is. But don't forget, he's also Anunoby's the highest paid player of the team. They knew that was going to happen, and Randall and Brunson are on the end of a contract that they signed before they put up numbers anywhere near what they put up with the Knicks. And it's just timing. It's like Randall will get that money from somebody if he plays with the Knicks this year and has a good year. He'll get a huge contract. Maybe the Knicks will want to extend him and trade Anunoby. Who knows? There's a lot of things that could happen, but Brunson's going to have to get paid. And the way the new rules are set up, with the 10% salary cap increase each year, the 10%, and the Larry Bird rules of what you can offer your own players to try to discourage the free agents building their own super teams. I mean, teams can retain players without salary cap hits that they would take by signing them as free agents, and it causes people like OG Anunoby to get paid $10 million a year more than he should, and it's a percentage. So
Yeah.
if you look at it, in 8 or 9 years, it's going to cause like Luca and Wembe to get paid $100 million a year because for 5 years instead of 80 million, 88 million a year for 4, because it's all based on percentages and TV revenue, and it rises each year. And they haven't disclosed figures, but all the estimations I've seen, these players are, if you're a stud and you're picked first overall, especially, and get that head start where you get that 4-year deal worth upwards of 60 million. It's gonna, and by the time that second TV deal is done, it's going to be close to 75 million. They extend you after your third year, so you get that fourth year. You still on a rookie contract, but they're allowed to offer you 5 years behind it. So you're first, and you're making more than any team is allowed to offer you by a
Well, that's
very big
all
number.
that's well and good in the future.
Right?
All that is well in the future, but you can't ignore the present, and you have all sorts of 6'6" to 6'8" forwards, and you're really not having a consistent center that can stay healthy. And Randall is a so-so power forward. So you got to bring somebody in there.
Mitchell
To,
Robinson was their starting center last year, and when he got hurt, people said, "There goes the season. He's going to be the defensive player of the year." They just lost him. He leads the league in offensive rebounds. He's such a great role player.
if
Um,
he stays healthy, he's never
Hartenstein
healthy.
comes in and outplays him, and they still might sign Hartenstein. He wants a 4-year deal. No one will offer him a 4-year deal except the Knicks. They can, they won't. And if they do, they can't offer what the Knicks can.
Well,
That spreadsheet that I sent you, it wasn't meant to show you that Obi and Anunoby, and guys, just so if you want, look on our channel. It's posted next to a picture of Hartenstein, the salary of everyone on the Knicks, and it will show you how much in green at the bottom is left under the apron. They can become a level 2
and
luxury team and sign
that chart
Hartenstein.
you shared would actually be good to your viewers too, because
Yeah.
some of them, a lot of the figures you're throwing out, they can't comprehend them. But you put it in
Uh-huh.
front of them, they'll have a better idea of what's going
Yeah,
on.
I'm actually it's fun. I'm actually going to get it up on the screen right now, because I said, the situation that they're in, it's with the history of what Leon Rose has done since he's been there, and with some of the things that are happening, like them having 2 first-round draft picks and having everyone that they looked at be available but not taking them, and then trading one of them away. It shows that they're trying to make more room to sign somebody, but there's no free agents that they're going to be able to get. I mean, they're going to have about 16 to 18 million a year that they can free up without incurring future penalties on what they can offer people that they definitely need. And that makes me think. And I watched a podcast too with Hart and where it's called the Teammates Podcast with Hart and Brunson, and they talked about how everything is working how they want it to, and then they had Thibodeau on, and he says, "Let me do my effing job." um, And here, I'm going to pull the spreadsheet up now. But basically, there's a plan in place that no one's aware of, and every move that they make is either an unexpectedly good move that no one thought they could make, or one that you say, "Oh, so that's why they got Bogdanovich," and extended his time, because they could make that trade for Bridges and come really close. And don't forget, there's still a clause, player to be named later, that they could still add. They could do it today. They could put another player in and instead of taking in more than they sent out, they could flip it and avoid that whole clause, because it's Bogdanovich's $19 million number. It's not like he was nothing. That was the only reason he was in that deal. He's been being sent around the league just to skirt the NBA's trade rules with that contract. And I feel bad for the guy, because it's not like he can't play anymore. He's certainly on the downside of his career because of his age, but he's not a bad player. Oh man. Trying to get the post up here. It's hard to do it while we're live.
Well, while you're doing that, they always talk about teams that win the off season, and the Knicks certainly are right, and they're right on target to win the off season, but that doesn't win them anything.
That's
They
true.
have to stay healthy,
Yes,
and
they
they have
do.
to bring in these new players to get them to play.
They have
And
to bring in new players, did you say?
it's good for fans to be excited in the off season, but come October, they got to the rubber
Well,
meets the road, and they got to be healthy,
I mean,
and
yeah,
they got to
and
be healthy for 81 games.
hold on 1 minute here. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna. I guess I can't. I can't get to the post while we're live. But yeah, they have to be healthy for 81 games. That's true. But here's the thing: the Knicks. That's what I was referring to. OG Anunoby is injury prone, right? They get Bridges. Do you know Bridges has never missed a game in college or the pros? Never.
I did not know that.
That is impressive. He has never ever sat out of a game because of an injury ever. And so I would call that not so. And they also, I know, are very similar players. They are probably both in the top 3 or 4 defensive small forwards, wingmen, swing guys in the league, and they score throughout their career, between 15 and 20 a game. They both do that, and they can put up big offensive. They can both shoot the three. They can put up big numbers that way. But when you make him a second or third option, as you saw with Anunoby, I mean, and he can score 7, 8, and then go for 30 when they leave him open and forget about him that one night. It works out really well. And when one of their big guys have an off night, so what I'm saying is they're hedging that. And if they keep Randall on, I know you're saying he makes less, but they're under no obligation to make him happy either. First of all, they don't know if they know the synergy adding Bridges, like, he'll fit with what we saw last year without Robinson and without Randall. So you want to talk about his healthy. Hartenstein also very few injuries. Resign him because he has a high IQ and he plays great with Brunson. Brunson is not injury prone. He's your leading man. DiVincenzo also not injury prone. And either is Julius Randle. Julius Randle's has 1 year besides last year that he didn't get hurt, or that he did get hurt and miss more than 15 games. He's not an injury-prone guy. I mean, and if you remember last year, they didn't know how long he was going to be out. They thought he was going to come back quick, and he was trying, and he was in shoot-arounds, and he was trying to push off having surgery, but he couldn't. And so eventually they had to come to grips with the fact that he was going to be done. And maybe they did it because they wanted to see what they are without him, because now they have that option of trading them. And if they do, they get a big man that's a power forward, more traditionally in this sense, a big guy that, bangs on the boards and is a good post player instead of a power forward like you got these days that shoots 10 3-pointers a game. And they have that option. They just have options, and I feel like they've. I don't know how you could be in a better position considering last year they have the same people coming back. They've added someone that is going to would have been their top 3 or 4 players. That fits the system. I mean, and they didn't stay healthy last year, and they still almost were in the Eastern
the
Conference
last
Finals.
time I looked, basketball only plays with one ball, and you're adding Randall coming back, Bridges coming back, and it's up to Thibodeau to keep them happy. And the NBA history shows that if the star players don't get the ball enough, they don't want to play. So it's not
Well,
as all rosy as you're making it out to be.
I see. That's true, but not with the Villanova players, including Jalen Brunson.
Well,
Jalen
Randall has
Brunson.
proven
Jalen
to
Brunson never
be
started when he came to the Knicks.
controversial, and he stirs up trouble.
What's that?
And he can be inconsistent also.
Who's that?
Randall.
Well, that's why he's most likely. That's why they didn't extend him. You know, they're gonna see, and and if there's a chance that, like, the synergy that they have with DiVincenzo, Hart, and Brunson, and you saw with Hartenstein and Robinson, you saw like how well they played, and OG. And if they have Hartenstein in there, there's a big man, a traditional center in the paint. That's why I believe the draft went like it did last night. I have to believe that they're clearing up. It can't possibly. And guys, you'll have to look at my post with the spreadsheet. I'm sorry I can't get it on the screen behind me like I intended, but it's very coincidental that the number works out within, a couple thousand of keeping them under this apron and under this tax, and giving Hartenstein the maximum they're allowed to offer him with the, I think, partial bird rule. And if Randall fits in that synergy that they had last year, that's great because he's a great scorer and he gets 10 rebounds a game. And if he doesn't, then that's great too, because he'll fit somewhere, and you can package him with Robinson, and they have Sims to back up Hartenstein. So if, like I said, like, that's why they have options now. And ideally, I think if you're the Knicks, You don't want to force the trade on Randall. And if you've watched, he's been to the Yankees games he went to the Rangers games when the Knicks got eliminated. Um, he went in a couple weeks ago. He opened the New York stock market by ringing the bell. Why would someone do that if they aren't trying to send a message like, guys, please re-sign me or at least keep me a part of this because I want to win, or at the very least stay in New York and be on good terms so another team gives me big money. And
Well,
I think the worst case scenario with him is that you have a team that has just 100 weapons. None of them are selfish. He could be the most selfish one, but he's not the point guard, so he's not going to control where the ball goes. And
let's face it, the Knicks
they look
lineup
good
is
without him.
better now than it was at the end of the season,
Mm-hmm.
but we still have to wait and see, and there's still a lot of ifs. They still have a lot of work to do. So why don't
Yeah,
we talk about something that's more current and has problems that we can solve now when we
yeah,
talk about the Yankees?
yeah. Let's talk about the Yankees. I don't know if we could solve the problems now. I mean, I know that I've mentioned on the shows previously many times that the success they had without their ace and having these, Soto, Verdugo, and Judge play the way they have, um, that and make them the best team in baseball. I did say, and it's Phillies too, but their pitchers are pitching so far above their head. I hope heals
Well,
what he has been, but
a month ago,
likely
the Yankees were the best team in baseball. They're
that's
not
right.
now.
But that's what
They're
I'm
top
saying, and I think
three.
it's because of their pitching, which never looked good on paper
Volpe
to
has
me.
been pretty consistent. Judge has been out of this world. Soto has slumped.
He
Verdugo
was
has
hurt.
slumped. Rizzo's
Yeah.
hurt. They have nobody at the bottom of the order. They have Torres.
DJ
They
LeMahieu looks
have,
like he
no
belongs
matter
in
what
a
the
kind
pitching
of.
does, they don't score runs. They're not going to win. And they have as
Yeah,
anemic
well, I'd like
a
to keep the
lineup
Mets in the
as
single
they had
digits.
last year.
Yeah,
This is, what killed them last year was Judge was out, but they had nobody to compensate for him. Soto's got to get hot again. And if you look at the way the season has worked, Oswaldo Cabrera and Soto carried them through. They were the two hottest
yes,
players. Verdugo chipped in. He was fairly consistent. Judge stunk. Judge got hot in May. The team continued to play, and then Verdugo went down. He's in a slump. Soto's in a bit of a slump, even though he's still hitting over 300.
yeah,
Cabrera's time was cut back when LeMahieu came in, so he hasn't taken over to hit. Trevino's
yeah.
not
Well, that's
hitting.
that's going to change because
Rizzo's
LeMahieu
not
is
hitting,
not
and
going to.
now Rizzo's hurt, and they haven't really gotten anybody to replace him.
Yeah. Well,
So,
I mean,
and that's
Ben
even
Rice
before
can
you go
replace
into
him,
the pitching.
hopefully.
And
I mean, do you like Ben Rice? He's been a pleasant surprise. Even though he came up way too early,
yeah,
he looks like
it's
a
too
child.
soon to say he's going to solve the problems. He's had a couple hits. I think Rice only has one RBI, so it's not like he's not setting the world
He's
on
doing better than
fire.
LeMahieu.
Um,
LeMahieu looks like he's the worst player I've ever seen in
what
pinstripes.
they got? Jamani Jones, he's really not that good. Trent Grisham is really not good as replacement. Cashman
Christian's pretty good.
probably
Christian will hit you home runs, and if
he'll hit
they
home runs,
actually
but
give
he's
him
going to
at
hit
bats,
200. You can't.
well, if they give him at bats and he's going to be your fifth option in the outfield during injuries, I mean, you want someone with pop on the bench. I mean, and he could come up in some big spots, but
Yeah.
they need they need it to be consistent. They can't have everybody having these career months,
And you have
and
nobody.
that's
You have
what they
nobody
had
at
this year.
AAA who they can bring up. Pereira's
Yeah,
done for the season.
yeah,
Dominguez got hurt, so
yeah.
he's
That
out for
killed
a
him.
couple months. They have no pitching that they can bring up. They had three prospects, had Peter, Hampton, and Warren. Two of the three are hurt, and Warren has
Hampton's
just been
not good enough
terrible.
to
So
come
they
up.
have no pitching down there to rely on. The cupboard's bare, and you say let's trade for people, but they have nobody to
They have no
trade.
one to trade.
They
I would trade
traded away
Hampton
all
in a
their
second
depth
because
for
he's not good.
Verdugo and for Soda. So they're really They have to get some guys healthy. Guys have got to start playing back to where they were at the beginning of
Well,
the year.
right, that's it. The guys have to start playing back to where they were because, and it would be nice since people are catching fire. If Torres can, at least play like he has enough. He's young enough and he has a long enough career that I believe he's going to turn it around. And he traditionally has hot second halves. Like if he gets hot, that'll be great because he'll take some pressure off. And LeMahieu looks like he's worse than he's. It's not that he's not hitting. Like he looks like he is 80 years old. He looks like he has no business being a professional baseball player. He fell so quickly from what he was when he came there for the first year and when he won a batting title in Colorado. I mean, the only thing that's good about him is you can put him in any infield position, but he doesn't even look limber in the field anymore. He's just old and he can't hit.
Um,
No power.
I
He
know a
gets a
couple of
single
slow
here and
pitch
there.
softball teams that could use his bat right
Yeah.
now.
Well, he should. He should be on a one-pitch softball team, on a slow-pitch softball team. And
Rizzo's a shell of himself, and
what's that?
Rizzo may not have
Well,
recovered from his concussion last year.
something's wrong with Rizzo. I was hoping he'd snap out of it, but even before the injury, it was like he was in this daze. He wasn't, besides the home runs and being a lefty at Yankee Stadium, he was not really hitting the ball hard. They I don't know. Well, I mean, I think that their pitching staff, if you look at how they paid people, right? With Cole as the ace, and Cole's track record is unbelievable, right? But obviously there will be a year where he stops being effective, and he's just coming back, so you don't expect him to be hot right away. But you do expect him to get back to that point pretty soon, within his next few starts. And if he can do that, and Cortez can be Cortez, and Rodon can be Rodon, and Stroman can just be a solid number three, four. It doesn't really matter. Rodon, Stroman, either can be solid at the 3 or 4 spot. Like I said, then you have Heel as somebody that going into the playoffs, you could make, a bullpen pitcher because he's a great strikeout machine. And he's pitched so far above his head. I've been saying it every time that we've talked that I love watching, but it can't possibly keep up because he never even showed signs of having potential. You could look at his statistics going back in any level, the minor leagues or the pros. He's never pitched Cy Young candidate. He's never even had an ERA under 3.8 in the minors.
Who are you talking about now?
Heel.
Okay.
And so he's getting shelled recently. So like to me, I'm like, yeah, well, maybe they finally got his number because talk about pitching over your head. He's great at when he gets people out. I do like that he's a good strikeout pitcher. And if he doesn't, pan out, in the playoffs, you generally have a 4-man rotation anyway. So if they can get it together and their pitching can stabilize, I do think that, Judge, Soto, Volpe, Verdugo can carry them. I do think that if their pitching stabilizes, they'll provide enough offense, and hopefully you get a pleasant surprise from somewhere else in the lineup. But and then he'll, could solve that bullpen issue. But you're right about them having no one to trade, you know, for anyone that's available on the free agent market because, the people that are available are pretty decent players. And I mean, they've already dished off a ton of minor league talent for people in the past few years that they just, even Soto, I mean, and the Nationals' number one prospect is killing the ball, and he's from the Yankee trade. I forget which one. Um, I forget, but he's you know, tearing the cover off the ball. And there's a few examples like that around the league of people they traded for people that aren't superstars that are just doing great. As like
It
and
still
seems like one
boils
of our
down
guys.
to improve the club, they need new players, and they don't have new players. Guys are being cut. They picked up J.D. Davis.
Yeah,
He's
I
an
saw that.
okay player. He's
For a
not a
minute, I thought it said
superstar.
JD Martinez, and
He
I was
can help
excited.
at first base. He can help at third base. He can DH. But he had
He's a
19 home
utility
runs last
infielder.
year, which is
Yeah,
not bad, but it's not somebody who's going to turn your season around.
right. That's what I said. It would be nice to see Torres. If Gleyber Torres can, be someone that has balances his year out with the awful first half with a really great second half. Be the guy that 1 year that hit 308 with 30 home runs and 120 RBIs.
But
Get him up.
he has not shown anything that would make you believe he's going to turn it around. He's a liability in the field, and he strikes out too much. As
Hits the
much
ball
as I
hard.
thought he was somebody who they could count on for their career, he's not coming back next
Oh, no way. I
year.
mean, but
And
the
they
thing
may
is
even
that
cut him now.
no one's going to give him a deal either on the free agent market. He's not going to make big money if he doesn't have a good second half. But look at him last year. Look at his first half versus second half. Last year, when you're talking about how bad they were without Judge, yeah, well, he was one of the reasons because he was one of their good hitters that was not hitting. When the Judge came back, all of a sudden, him and Glaber started to hit. So Glaber is very streaky. He always has been, but I don't know where those early years came from because I don't know how you can be in your 20s and go from hitting 30 home runs and batting 270 to 300 and to being putting up stats like you're not a starter. I don't get it. And you're right. And don't forget, he was a shortstop. They moved him to
Well,
second base in
he
the
was the
Cubs
Cubs' top
organization.
prospect,
Yeah,
and
he
the
was the
Yankees
Cubs' top guy. The
wanted
Chapman
him
deal. They
when
stole
they
him for the
traded
Chapman
Andrew
got.
Miller.
Yeah. Oh, Andrew Millard. That's the. I thought it
Yeah,
was
he
when
got
they
him for
sent Chapman to the
Andrew
Cubs for
Miller.
that
So
3 month period.
was it Miller or Chapman that they traded him for?
I think it was Chapman. They literally got him for nothing. They
And then
rented
they got
Chapman.
and then they got Chapman back.
Yeah, they rented him out. They got Torres, and they wanted to get I think Schreiber,
Here
someone
he
else from the
is.
Cubs at the time, but yeah, I don't know the Yankee. It's amazing how quickly you can go from excited to really worried the Yankees because
Yeah.
I don't really know what can happen. All the only thing I can say is if their pitching staff, which I've never been very high on, I thought they overpaid for Rodon. That it was very anti what Cashman has been recently. I thought Stroman was a good signing, but as a number 4 starter,
And they
and
lost Schmidt. They lost
yeah,
Schmidt. That Cody Poteet looked like he was going to be something. He could have moved him back into the bullpen.
hmm
They signed this guy Nick Birdie. He looked like he was going to be something. He gets hurt. Ian
right.
Hamilton is hurt.
He's
He was not pitching up to the level he was pitching last year. And the only hope they have for the bullpen is that Scott Efros, who they got from the Cubs 2 years ago, coming back. He was out all last year with TJ surgery, but he
hmm
throws hard. So he should be back probably right after the All-Star break. And he's going to be a solid reliever and behind or in front of Holmes and Canely. And we'll see what happens from there. But this is another one of those discussions we're having. At least this one, we don't have to wait for October. In 2 weeks, we'll have a better idea of where the Yankees are going.
yeah. I
See,
mean, I guess. I
they're
mean, I
two
don't
and
know.
eight in the last 10 games. They have lost. The first
But
part of the
it's
year, they won their first 24 series with other teams. They won 21 of them, and now they've lost the last four.
yep.
So they've done a complete turnaround. I don't think they're that bad, but
Well, they're
when you
definitely
get
not
past
that
their
bad, but
first four hitters, and I'm generously including Verdugo in there, the last
mhm,
five are weak. They're just
yeah.
weak.
Yeah,
and they're not
and
consistent. So we have to wait and see.
it really I mean, it really sucks that Dominguez um went down, because I was talking about him. Remember, there was a time we were talking about where would you even put him in the lineup? You probably have to keep him down because there's no space for him. Because
Yep.
Verdugo's playing so well, Stanton's playing so, there's nowhere to put him. And all of a sudden, he killed it
I
in that
forgot
right now.
about Stanton. So
Yeah, Stanton's, well, he's only
you
a
take
10-day guy. But
you know,
did you see Cashman's what he said about him when they asked? He's like, "Of
yeah,
course he's hurt. He's always hurt. That's what he does."
yeah.
And he said that live on TV. I couldn't
We
believe it.
should be helpful or happy that he got 2.5 months out of him.
I,
That's the
I
longest.
mean, 2.5
That's
really
the
good months.
longest time he's played.
I've just never seen a GM, talk about a player like that, especially one that you made the stupid deal to get. I mean, literally, Derek Jeter dished him off to you, and you got burned.
Yeah,
It's like it was
he
payback.
did. Well,
And it was,
we
and
will
they knew it
save
was a
that
bad
for our
contract
next.
when they got him.
We'll save that for our next discussion.
Yeah, well, so hey, let me. What do you think? I was trying to remember if the year the Judge broke the home run record, if the Yankees were a playoff team. Do you remember if they were good the year that he broke the home run record?
Yeah, they were. They made the playoffs. That's the year he
Yeah,
broke it. He was bad in the playoffs, and he got booed.
that's right. That's right. He was bad in the playoffs.
And he got
Yeah.
booed for it. So
It must be hard to be him when you're the only one that makes him win when you hit. He needs it. He's loved having Soto, but
and with all of this, you know, you now need to worry how Soto's taking it all in. He says all the right things, but
no,
if you
he's
have
gonna.
no depth, he may not want to be on a team that doesn't have a chance to win.
I don't know why everybody keeps talking about this. I'm gonna go on record once again and say the Yankees are not going to be able to sign Soto, nor should they. He wants to be the highest paid player in baseball. They just gave Judge the year before last $400 million for 10 years, and Otani got $700 million for 10 years. Wait, what does Soto want? Like, it's got to be at least as much as Judge. And like, how many players can you have making $40 million on your
Yeah,
team if you're not winning? Why would you
we'll
keep
see.
paying them?
Well, don't forget the Yankees are an $8 billion team, so it's not like they don't have the money.
Well, yes, that's true,
Hal's a
but
little bit on the cheap side, but he did go out on the limb this year. He's got a higher payroll than he wants to have, and he has said he wants to sign Soto. But there's got to be a limit to how much he spends.
Soto turned down 13 years, $450 million,
Right.
2.5 years ago.
But when you average that out, it was less than 30 million a year. So
Yeah, it was 29.8,
yeah,
and it was for 13 years.
and that would not have made him
And
the
at the
highest paid
time,
player. So
it was with, besides Trout and Machado, he would have been the highest paid. He would have been offensively. Um, and he would have been, I think, besides Harper, the only guy that had more than 10 years in the deal. But you know, I also read that they're interested. The Blue Jays might be shopping Vlad Guerrero Jr.
yeah, well that's great, but the Yankees have
I
nobody to
just
give
don't
him.
believe that. I
So
don't know why they would do that.
they want to
Why would
rebuild because they're not going to win with what they have.
shit, man? 2 years ago, I was thinking they were the next power with all those young studs.
Yeah, well,
They don't
Bichette's
have
not doing
pitchers.
well. They traded Biggio. Biggio's not there anymore.
Bichette isn't. Yeah,
Yeah,
well, you know what?
Bichette's terrible. Like I
It's
said, Biggio was traded to I forget. Like,
maybe it's just that I liked all the names because their dads were so good.
and their pitching is so. So
No,
well,
they have
it's going to
to
make for an
redo the
interesting
divisions.
summer.
What's that?
I said it'll make for an interesting summer.
Yeah, it
So
will.
next time we talk, we can reassess this discussion and where we are.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Thanks for being on.
Okay, fans. Thanks for listening.
All right, guys, and check out the Knicks
Well,
spreadsheet.
I
Tell me in
will.
the
Yeah,
comments if
let
you
them
want
see
to.
that. That was really good.
Yeah, guys, tell me in the comments who you want to see the Knicks. What you want to see the Knicks do. And I don't want to see anybody tell me they want to start Randall at center. I'm sick of seeing people write me that he is not a center. So
Okay,
get that out of your head.
that sounds good.
All right.
Okay, we'll talk
All
to you.
right. All right. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.